Chapter 5, Carolot Station. Greengrass dove back inside the office, just as the pony's horn flashed, and blasted a bowling solid glob of air around. The air smashed into the office wall and exploded, sending concrete flying and blasting open a hole wide enough to fit a pony's barrel through. Greengrass peeked through the hole and noted what dismayed. The new pony's horn was already starting to glow again. "Look," he called. "I'm sure we could talk this out. If you want money..." Enemy pony growled something inarticulate, and cast another enemy mortar at them. "What's going on?" yelled Twilight as the mortar pounded on the office wall. "Who's that?" "An assassin," called Greengrass, trying to cast under the barrel and high remains of the wall. "An assassin?" squealed Mace. "What? For who? Why?" "Answer the questions. We can investigate them later. Can you teleport us out of here?" Twilight yelled as a blast of energy sailed through the hole and almost hit her in the head, skimming the very back of her mane before blasting into the wall behind them, causing a shower of concrete dust to fall from the ceiling. "If you could get this ring off!" She danced to Greengrass to lower her horn. "Hurry!" Greengrass put his hooves against it, but it sparked and would not move 1 inch. "It seems to be stuck," he said. "Just you..." "What?" Twilight brought a hoof to her arm ring, which continued to spark. "How can it be stuck? Stupid broken... Ah!" Greengrass watched her dive under the energy blast. "Okay, so an unstoppable shadow bolt lured her here, gave her a ring to disable her magic, probably cleared out the tunnels with their fake notice, it vanished. I think it's safe to say that he's not really a shadow bolt, unless they've got into abduction business, and he's not coming back. We're on our own. In that case, Miss Sparkle, get behind color and get ready to run." He tilted an ear, heard footsteps right, stopping slowly towards the office. "As soon as he enters the room, gallop out of here. I'll follow." Sparkle made a small meep sound, then ducked behind some rubble and murmured, Okay, stay calm. Run right." She took a deep breath as the stopping hostess came in closer. "Thanks, Duke, for helping me." "Oh, any pony would do the same. Specifically, any pony who knows how vengeful your father is to ponies who fail his daughter. Get ready." The opposing figure stepped through the hole of the office wall, large boots slamming to the ground with audible clangs. Shadows played over his face and coat in a constantly shifting pattern that Greengrass recognized as the result of a standard concealment spell. It rendered the pony's face, coat, mane, and cue mark completely indistinct. Even though the Duke was only a few inches away, Greengrass did observe that the pony's horn was short and unusually angular, looking more like a square pin man with a flat top than the usual cone. But more importantly, Greengrass could see the enemy's build, and what he saw dismayed him. The shadowy figure was as big as a carriage, and most of what was covered in muscle. Still, he was looking at Twilight, not Greengrass, and that was a weakness the Duke could exploit. He took a breath, rose from his position, brought to mind everything he learned from his puzzle lessons, and punched the figure hard at his blind side. It had absolutely no effect. "Ow!" Greengrass looked down at his hoof, which burned in pain as he punched the brick wall. "Aye!" The figure grabbed Greengrass, looked over his head, and threw him out of the office onto the track bed. Stars burst across Greengrass's vision as his head knocked against the rail, but he managed to get up in time to see the figure move further into the office. "Okay, think. He could have easily killed me, but he didn't, so he wants me alive. He's probably going to chase me towards..." A scream sounded from the office. Then Twilight went sailing out, hitting Greengrass in the barrel. He fell down with a cry and quickly forced himself up. "Miss Sparkle, run! Right behind you!" As if to punctuate the statement, motors began blasting right behind them. Greengrass dashed towards the tracks, Twilight on his heels, looked for an escape. All the doors had been sealed, and there was no railroad employees anywhere in sight. No witnesses, no way out. Whoever planned this thing knows what they're doing. A crane slowly lit up ahead of them. Greengrass saw a silhouette of another pony in the cab. The crane's claw rotated around and grabbed a big metal box that was on the open on one side, and began to turn toward them. As Twilight screamed, Greengrass saw it. The pink pony's going to drive us towards the crane, which will get us into the box, pick us up, and ship us out of here. He opened his mouth to tell Twilight, then closed it. He couldn't see any way out of it. A panicking her wouldn't help anything. Maybe we could get ahead of the crane, out of its range, but... An energy blast like a mortar sailed over their heads and blasted a path in front of them. Greengrass and Twilight skated to a halt. The hulking figure behind slowed to a trot. His horn glowed again as he might blast them anyway. He growled something inarticulate. The crane began to whirl above their heads. Well, said Green Grass, I do have to say, this is an excellent abduction attempt. What? Asked Twilight. I mean, normally you get a few thugs with staffs and blackjacks, but this one took effort. I'm impressed. Twilight stared at him like he was crazy. I just wanted to see Mom! She said, this isn't fair! She turned back to the huge pony and chased it towards the crane. You hear me? This isn't fair! Raingrass saw the box door descending towards him. Once they were in it, he knew there'd be no chance of escape. But he could see no way to escape without being murdered. He shut his eyes. Then he heard a door break down, and the familiar voice of Raindrops cry out, Hold it right there! The elements had charged into the train station at full tilt, almost running over the civil police who were checking every pony's identification by the doors. Excuse me, Mayor. You need to stop and identify yourselves, called out one officer as they approached. Knights of the Realm, let us through! Yelled Raindrops. You need to stop. Knights of the Realm! Raindrops was bearing down on the officer, running at her absolute fastest. License safe! Get out of our way! The guards looked at each other. They quickly parted. Raindrops sprang into the terminal and leapt into the air, flying above the startled passengers and staff on the ground. The waiting area for foals was dead ahead, as he could already visualize herself entering it, finding no signs of snails. As he put out a burst of speed, flew through the door. Saw Snails, sitting on a brightly colored chair, looking at his hands on his hoof with a calm expression. Snails! Cried Raindrops, sweeping him in a gigantic hug. Think the stars, you're okay? Arrgh! Snails blinked at Raindrops in confusion, even as he released the ants onto the windowsill and returned the hug. Is something wrong? Are you okay, ma'am? Asked the transit guard, trying over from his post. Now seeing that Snails was safe, Raindrops felt slightly silly, but her relief was more than enough to drown out the emotion. I'm fine, just fine, thanks. She hugged Snails close. I'm glad you're okay. Charlie, who came up behind Raindrops, poked her on the shoulder. We should find Twilight, she said. In a minute. Raindrops put Snails on her back. You feeling better now? No, then. Damn it! Why don't we get some candy or something? I tried, but they're closed, said Snails. Most of the places here are closed. What? Why? Asked Carrot Top. Because of the escapees? I don't know. Shirley frowned. That's odd, isn't it? I don't know, repeated Snails. Raindrops saw Charlie begin to travel down her own train of thought. So as the magenta pony left the room, probably to look for Twilight, Raindrops guessed, she turned her own attention back to her brother. So, what did you do while your big sister was out saving the day? Thought. About what? Stuff. Raindrop's smile became slightly strained. What stuff? Snail stuff, the fool sighed. I don't know. I was trying to pick things I'm good at, but I couldn't think of any. Ah! How can I break him out of this? Raindrop stopped for a moment, then said, You know, I felt the same way at your age. But you're awesome. You're good at lots of stuff. Snails raised his hoof. You're the best in the world at lots of stuff, even. Like what? Raindrops asked. I'm an okay weathermare, but I'm not as fast as Rainbow Dash. And I'm not as a good sculptor as Flitter. I'm strong, but Charlie always beats me when we spar. I'm pretty honest, but sometimes I tell a fib. Like when I told Mom I was just holding those romance books for a friend. But you're awesome. You're right, I am. I don't need to be the best in the world at everything to be awesome. She tickled her brother with a wingtip, and he made a faint smile. I'm a pretty good weathermare, and a pretty good strong pony, and a pretty honest pony, and a pretty neat pony all around. I'm still awesome. Can't you see that? Even if you aren't the smartest or the strongest or best magician right now, you're also awesome? Snails paused. Well, I guess. And that is the Raindrops! The mayor turned to see Carrot Top waving at her. Trinity found something important. Come on! Carrot Top, I'm having a moment, Raindrops growled. This is about Twilight. Carrot Top hesitated. She might be in big trouble. Raindrops growled to herself, but looking back saw that Snails' smile had already started to fade. Come on, little bro, she said at last. Let's go see what homework Charlie has for me. Snails giggled softly as Raindrops moved down. They followed Carrot Top to a closed ice cream stand by a stairwell, leading down to the freight tunnels. The store was closed, and the proprietor looked annoyed. I don't know what to tell you, he said. That's what happened. Charlie turned to the others. The shops are closed because most of their store supplies down in the freight area. Today they can't go there because some pony put up a sign saying the shadow bolts were closing the freight lines. The all escaped prisoners are recaptured. What's wrong with that? Asked Raindrops. It makes no sense to shut down the freight lanes, but not the passenger lines. Isn't an escapee more likely to sneak into a coach car than to hide in a freight pallet? They'd be a lot more noticeable mixed in with the freight, right? Something's wrong here. And also, she turned to the ice cream stallion, the two ponies you said you saw going downstairs earlier. One of them had a purple coat? Yeah. A purple coat animal with a stole-shaped cutie mark. Looked real happy. The other pony was a stallion who looked like kind of a cop. Uniform and all that. Charlie turned to her friends. Some pony lured Twilight into the tunnels and cleared every pony else out of them. We've got to get to her. Raindrops felt Snails tighten his grip on her back slightly. But, Raindrops, this is Twilight. She's offended, said Carrot Top. We have to save her. I don't want Twilight to get hurt because of me, murmured Snails. She's a good pony. Raindrops fought off a jolt of anger. Snails, could you wait in the daycare back there just a few minutes more? I'll get you soon. For real this time. Promise. She let Snails off and waited for him to walk back towards the direction of the daycare. Then turned to Charlie and Carrot Top. Let's go beat the tar out of whoever's attacking Twilight. And possibly Twilight for getting into this. Charlie cracked a smile and then the three ran. They heard explosions by the time they reached the bottom of the stairs. But after traveling through several hallways in pursuit of the sound, they found the door seemed to have been magically sealed. Charlie and Raindrops reared back and kicked it. The door went flying off its hinges. They saw the train bed before them. They saw Twilight green grass and the lowering crane. The pony with the glowing horn standing in front of them. Hold it right there! Screamed Raindrops, charging in. The bulky pony turned and blasted what looked like an energy motor out of his horn. It sailed into the air, above Raindrops and to her left. She had to charge forwards. Scatter! Yelled Charlie, knocking Raindrops to the side. A moment later, the motor hit a pile of boxes and crates that had been stacked by the door. What's with all the boxes? Hey, don't talk to them about their boxes. They like boxes. And on the night had entered, Raindrops felt a rubble crash on top of her back half and tried to move. Felt she was stuck. Damn it! Charlie managed to roll free of the classic boxes. Raindrops! Carrot Top, are you okay? Carrot Top made a muffled sound from somewhere behind Raindrops. I'm okay, but I'm behind the rubber. I can't get through. Raindrops shook her head, twisting to free herself, but only sliding a half an inch. I'll get the door unblocked and he'll let Carrot Top in. Deal with the motor guy! Charlie nodded and ran towards the unicorn, whose horn was already charging to fire another motor. Hey, big guy! Why don't you try firing a pony that can fight back? The pony growled and lowered his horn. Charlie flung herself flat, and the motor blasted over her head, carrying to the rail and sending chunks of metal flying into the air. The beast-like pony began to charge again, but Charlie didn't wait. She turned her dive into a roll, slipped behind the big pony, and kicked the back of his leg with a blow intended to snap the bone. It had no effect. The pony turned and swung a heavy hoof at Charlie, who dodged it and retaliated with a series of strikes at the pony's face. All the blows seemed to glance off, as the pony were too bulky to be hurt, or just immune to pain. She gulped as she skipped back a step to dodge another blow. This one could be rough. On the corner of her eye, she saw Twilight and Greengrass fleeing the tracks. The crane overhead was rotating and lowering down, as if trying to smash them onto the track bed. But Charlie didn't have time to focus on them. The big pony was charging his horn for another attack. Charlie ducked low, and the pony aimed low. Charlie sprang over at the last moment, leaping onto the stallion's back. She wrapped her hose around his neck and began to squeeze. The pony reared back and flung himself over, knocking Charlie against the ground, almost crushing her beneath his mass. When Charlie got up, she felt a few drops of blood on her head. Gritting her teeth, she dropped into the combat stance that she had learned during her stint in Saudi Arabia. Okay, now I'm mad. The stallion swung at her, and Charlie was able to dodge the blows. He was strong, but not as fast as her. His blows were heavy enough he couldn't master his reaction time. Still, judging for the divots he was creating in the metal rails when his hose struck the ground, he only needed to land one hit to lay her out. And while she was confident she could avoid him for a while, she was running out of ideas as to how to damage him. But she wasn't going to lose. Not with so many ponies she cared about, plus Greengrass, needed her. So she laughed, That's another blow, trying once again to incapacitate the beast. Greengrass sprinted to a dark corner behind several rows of stacked boxes. I don't think the crane operator can see us here, Miss Sparkle. The boxes will protect us from him. That's good, Twilight managed. But what about the unicorn? Will the boxes protect us from him? A motor screamed over their heads and gouged a hole into the concrete wall. Oh, yes, said Greengrass. About that. Twilight shut her eyes and began to chant. No more running, no more hiding. Greengrass did his best to tune her out and think. Cheerily is having trouble against the motor pony, so I can't just wait here for her to save us. The other two elements are buried behind the rubble, and I can't get to them without the crane operator trying to smash me with the box. We have to take out the crane, but Twilight's not much use without magic. That leaves me. It's thought that his safety was once again dependent on his ability to fight his way past armed and crazy terrorists. Greengrass paused. Yes, he thought, he surprised the sun cultists a few months ago, and even saved Notary, barely. But that was due to his setting up an articulate plan that no pony had seen through, and even then he had still needed Baron Max. His father, Green Meadow, an old diamond dog named Wolfgag or something to bail him out and save his life. Now he had no plan, no support, and he doubted Max would show up with the cavalry again. He knew a rate gain when he saw one, and this was as rate as it got. It might be smart to just slip away, trying to find an exit that hadn't been blocked off. He looked at Twilight and saw that she had opened her eyes and was looking very determined. Any ideas for how we could help the elements? She asked. Something in the tone of her voice told that Duke she wouldn't be abandoning them. That particular weakness of hers seemed to have vanished, and while he knew he could just abandon her dad would kill me, he told himself, and decided that was his reason for not leaving. All right, he said, knowing that if he left Twilight alone, he would do something stupid. The cream pony is targeting the other elements, and the motor pony is distracted. So he stopped her on the other side of the tracks as long as some pony distracts the cream pony and keeps the focus here. Once I distract the crane, can you go to that pile of rubble and start digging the elements out, please? Twilight nodded. Yes, I could do that. Splendid. This shouldn't take more than a few moments. As a smile, darting around the boxes, and back to the crane operator's field of view. Even as the crane swung around, Greengrass took a long look at the cab and surrounding boxes. The crane was an old, rusty machine, built before the last round of magically reinforced metals from Fisher Metallurgy, and poorly maintained to boot. A sufficiently heavy weight could probably damage it, and there were massive boxes stacked all around, freight shipments that hadn't been moved yet. Greengrass ran as quickly as he could, staying ahead of the descending box, flinging himself to the side just before it slammed to the ground. He barely avoided being cut in half, but the crate began to rise again almost immediately. So he just picked himself up, turned around, and kept going. He needed to keep the operator completely focused on Greengrass to the exclusion of all else. That meant he couldn't rush this. He had to play it out and draw him in, even if it meant risking losing his head. Across the crack, Twilight ran up the raindrops. Need help? She asked. Get this junk off me! Raindrops choked frantically, but couldn't extricate her back half from the pile of rubble. Now! Right, working on it! Meanwhile, Greengrass ran in 5 loose loops around in front of the cane, moving around as if confused whenever he had to dive for cover. He noticed the crane motions becoming sharper and more impulsive. The box began to bang on the track and surrounding freight once more, as if the operator were getting mad. Once the motions of the crane were almost violently impulsive, Greengrass drifted near one of the tallest sets of freight near the crane and slipped around to it, as if trying to hide. The crane wheeled around, the box swinging in a big arc coming towards him. Greengrass tensed, then dodged at the last moment. Now! The box, as the freight, tumbled several pallets onto the crane, crushing it like an overripe tomato. As the frame crumpled, the operator jumped out. The crane's left arm collapsed, falling into the track, toppling the box towards Charlie and her opponent. Ha! Charlie grazed lightly away, and as the bulky pony moved to follow, the empty box slammed on top of him. Landed open end, more's the pity, thought Greengrass, but at least it trapped the beast. These dumps sounded from within the box. And then, another few moments, everything was quiet. Greengrass wiped the sweat from his brow as he just finished his mightily challenging workout. Well, he said, that was certainly invigorating. Thank you for the assist, Dame Shirley. Shirley, sweating hard, raised an eyebrow. Assist? Well, I think I clearly had things under control, but your aid's more than greatly appreciated. Really? Charlie rolled her eyes. Look, just tell me where Twilight is, Greengrass. I'm not in the mood for your games. Oh, but is it life a game? Greengrass, where's Twilight? Right behind you. Twilight, who had gotten across the track, was almost done drinking Raindrops out, ready to hoof. Is it over? I think so, said Greengrass, trying over to Charlie. He looked at the crushed crab. There's no exits from this room, so we just need to collect whoever was in the crane, and a loud roar sounded from the empty box. Then a moment later, it began to lift off the ground. Greengrass stared as he saw the massive plane from it hoisting the box. The box, so heavy, had been formerly lifted by an industrial crane over his head. Seriously? The pony leaned back, muscles bouncing, then threw the box at Greengrass. The Duke froze, paralyzed by the sheer absurdity of the sight. He told himself to move, but he saw what looked like half a train car flying at him. He couldn't. His body would not obey him. So this is how I die. Charlie tried to go down, the box sealed over his head. Move! She snapped. Make yourself useful. Go dig out the other knights. Now! Forget us! Yelled Raindrops, bursting free of the rubble as Greengrass rolled to one side to avoid the next mortar from the incredibly strong enemy. I'm out! If Twilight get carried in a minute, grab the crane operator! Don't let that pony get away! As Charlie began to fight the enemy unicorn again, Greengrass quickly looked around. He saw a light above the tracks that hadn't been won from the control room. He fled to the control booth, called Greengrass. But wait, there's no exit from there. No weapons. Why? With a loud clunk, the switches at the end of the track began to move. What? thought Greengrass. Why would he move the tracks? Unless... Wait, are they going to try redirecting trains to run us over? No pony would be that crazy. At the far end of the track, he saw a large tunnel door slide open, the distant headlight of a now-moving train approaching them. Greengrass gulped. Okay, maybe they are that crazy. Excuse me, have you seen the Elements of Harmony? The ice cream stand owner looked at the earth pony in front of him. You would. I need to find them. I'm Baron Max of the Night Court. I was supposed to meet them here. They went down those stairs. The proprietor jabbed a hoof to the passage of the freight level. Those three, that little cult followed them a few minutes later. Any idea why everybody's going down there all of a sudden? Max gulped. Why did they go down the stairs? Are they chasing those abductors? But they wouldn't have backup. Those guys took down 20 captives. The elements could be in trouble. And there's a cult too. Without responding to the ice cream stand owner, he pushed past and raced down the stairs. Twilight pulled Raindrops out of the rubble just in time for the weatherman to see the train engine rushing towards Charlie and her opponent. Lee! Dodge! Charlie sprang left, and the opponent managed to lumber right. This before the engine car blasted through the space he had been. It rolled down the track and into a large turntable near the end of the room. But the turntable suddenly rotated so quickly, the engine was rushing back towards them. The operator's controlling the turntables, she called. This is insane! Screamed Raindrops. He's going to hit his own partner! Somehow, I'm not sure that would stop him, called Greengrass. Charlie managed to shove the big pony away for a moment, then threw herself away from the trains and screeched past again. Twilight, how's Carrot Top? I'm okay, came Carrot Top's muffled voice from behind the rubble. Still trying to dig my way in. And I'll get you out, said Twilight. Meanwhile, the train engine had reached the turntable at the other end of the room, swinging back towards them again. Raindrops turned back towards the rubble. I'll help. No time. Charlie ducked a punch from her enemy. Twilight, dig through the Carrot Top and get the door unblocked. Raindrops, Duke, get to the control tower. Stop the train. Raindrops hesitated, but seeing Charlie only barely dodged being run over, nodded and flew into the air. Hey, crane guy! I'm coming for... What? A blast of energy sizzled out of the control booth window and almost knocked her out of the sky. Damn it! Stay low, Dame Raindrops, yelled Greengrass, who was getting run along the side of one of the tracks. He was eyeing the approaching trains with trepidation. The path next to the track had become largely impassable due to the rubble caused by stray motor shots. Running along the track was the only option for him. Fly under his sight and... Shut up! Yelled Raindrops, dropping lower anyway. So he twisted to one side and dodged the train, which was now crossing the room every few moments. So he noticed it would pass with no conductors in it, and the levers of the yellows were felt in a green magical glow. You only care because if we die, Corona will burn your stupid garden! I don't see why. Just stop him! Yelled Charlie. She cursed as the unicorn sent a glassing blow off her shoulder, and sent stumbling backwards. The engine almost flattened her, but she caught her balance at the very last moment, and though she teetered on the train's path for a moment, she managed to just barely dodge it. Hurry! Raindrops grit her teeth and charged forwards, keeping over green grass as they moved down the track. The train engine rushed at them in almost random patterns, swinging about on turntables so it was always chasing them down the track they were on. But they managed to avoid it and near the stairs leading up to the control booth. Come on, muttered Raindrops through gritted teeth. Come on! Go, Raindrops! Raindrops turned and startled to see Snails, who was squeezed through the small hole between the rubble and the top of the door frame the twilight had cleared. It was still too small for an adult like Carrot Top to get through, but it seemed that the little colt had managed it. His horn was glowing and he was waving a huff. Go, Raindrops, you're awesome! Snails! Screamed Raindrops. Get upstairs! Damn it, he's using magic. Probably going to throw rocks at the motor pony or something. Twilight! So you won't be able to get him out of here and operating that small. He'll find he won't fit through it. Get a bigger opening to get Snails out of here! Sorry, called Carrot Top. He jumped my back from behind and climbed through before I could stop him. Snails didn't even seem to notice the conversation. Bear him up! Kick the butts! Raindrops was so distracted, she almost didn't notice the train bearing down at her, throwing herself aside for the last second, even feeling the train sliding past the feathers of her left wing. She cursed, then blasted up to the control roof. This pony hurts one hair of Snail's mane. I'll throw him out of the booth! She burst through the left door, out the booth, just as Greengrass burst through the right. The unicorn before them was lean and wiry. His face and coat magically stirred like his partner, but his horn, very long and extremely sharp, was clearly visible. He looked for Greengrass and Raindrops. Ugh. There are two of us, and you're our machines, said Greengrass almost in a pleasant tone. This is the part where you could see the game. I've still got the train on board, the operator growled. Back off, or I'll run over your pink friend down there. She's magenta. Get your color coordination right. Down below, the train engine was screeching towards Cheerily. As he dodged the blow from the motor pony and sprang back far enough, he began charging his horn to fire another blast there. She waited. Did jumped in just at the right moment, struck his side of his horn. The shot went to her right, striking not her, but the ground in front of the train. With a screeching sound, the engine ran over the broken track and derailed, screeching against the ground and almost flattening Cheerily as it skidded to the sides of the track bed and set dust as a huge crate crashing in splinters. The pony paused. Damn, he growled. His voice was low and burlesque. Greengrass reached for him, but the pony's horn flashed, shooting out a blast of magical energy at the Duke. Raindrops yelped. Greengrass yelped as he was knocked back into the wall. Raindrops sprang at the unicorn, dodged into the next attack, and decked the pony hard in his chin. The unicorn staggered backwards and leapt at Raindrops, but beat him down to the ground. But when Raindrops went up to follow him with a blast to the gut, the unicorn rolled to the side and fled. He raced down the stairs, past the now stationary trains, and ran back towards the now resumed battle between his ally and Shirley, as well as Twilight, Carrot Top, and Snails. Raindrops carried out and gave chase, but she was slower, and the unicorn quickly outdistanced her. His horn glowed, and Magic quickly felt Snails. Hey! Screamed Snails. Put me down! Raindrops! Help! No! Yelled Raindrops. Somebody stop him! The unicorn skipped Snails onto his back, holding him fast, ran to the pile of rubble. Help! Raindrops! Miss Shirley! Mr. Greengrass! Help me! Yelled Snails. But Shirley couldn't get away from the big pony, and Greengrass was still sizzling from the blast. Raindrops was too slow, and when Twilight ran up to help, the pony knocked her aside. Help! Hey! Another pony managed to push through the larger hole Twilight had cleared before Snails' capture. It was, Raindrops realized, an incredulous snare. Not Carrot Top, but Baron Max. What's going on? Help! He's pony napping me! Screamed Snails. Somebody help me! Out of the way! Growled the charging pony. Max reacted instantly by springing out the top of the rubble, landing in front of it, Rising his hooves and punching Charging Pony in the face. Charging Pony staggered backwards, almost dropping Snails. Raindrops almost cheered. Yeah! The riding unicorn shook himself off. The blasted Max at point-blank range with a beam of energy. This did knock Max back, and Raindrops could smell the stallion's burnt coat from across the tracks. But as the Abductor ran past, Max halted himself and seized his hooves. Stop! Raindrops grinned grimly and kept going. A little more. Almost got him! The Abductor kicked Max in the head and managed to wriggle free of his grip. But Max hauled himself back to his hooves and tackled the pony before he could take off. Snails fell off the pony's back with a thump, and then the two were wrestling. Raindrops flew above their heads and began to dive down. Here's some payback! The enemy blasted a spear of magical energy, shocking Max and sending Raindrops crashing to the track. The enemy got up, dragging his back right leg slightly. It appeared to be considering another attack, but Greengrass was getting closer, and Raindrops could even hear shouts from the hallways and the trampling ponies covered in heavy armor. The pony gave one quick look around, then ran at the pile of rubble. He blasted to the top, ran past Carrot Top, and was gone. Ha! The Weathermare turned to see Cheerilee finally land a solid blow on her last opponent, striking at the base of his horn, causing him to stumble backwards and howl in pain. Your friend left! You're all alone! So give it now and tell us where the missing ponies are! The pony only growled in response. When he glanced around, he seemed to notice his ally had vanished. His horn glowed again, and he pointed straight down. Cheerilee managed to leap back just as he blasted the ground under his heavy boots. Using the explosive, he catapulted himself down the tunnel. He landed past the rail doors, crashing into the ground, but getting up without apparent injury. They blasted the ceiling when Cheerilee moved to chase him. The door slammed shut, and Cheerilee was forced to stop in front of the massive door. His hostess sounded down for the tunnel for a few moments, but soon faded. They're both gone, Raindrops realized. The elements were safe, and so, Raindrops saw with relief, was Snails. Her brother was sitting up next to Max. Shaken, yes, but seemingly unhurt. Snails, are you okay? I bumped my horn. Snails pressed the hoof to the base of his horn, rubbing it. It's not bad. I'm okay. Yay, said Max, laying flat on the train tracks. Raindrops couldn't help but smile with relief as Snails was going to be all right. This was tempered by a blast of anger at the ponies who attacked them. Okay, we can work with that. Carrot Top climbed through the hole in the rubble. What happened? She asked. Who was that? The ponies all looked at each other. Then Greengrass spoke. I think I can speak for all of us when I say that we have absolutely no idea.